force on August the 1st, 1834, implemented the apprenticeship system and agreed to pay compensation to slave owners.
So the slave owners received reparations before we got reparations.
When you are the apprenticeship period, the word apprenticeship period means the slave owners agreed to let their slave go just to get paid for them.
Right.
So it wasn't like they willingly do it. They didn't willingly do it until they called it the apprenticeship period. The apprenticeship period means the slave owners get compensation. The amount of compensation paid was calculated by taking the value of the total export of each of the slave colonies and dividing this figure by the number of slaves in each colony. This ratio, which represents the average economic value of the slave to each colony as a whole, right then you even know what the value of the slave was at the time, was applied to the gross compensation to determine the total amount due. Since the export of the Bahamas had been declining over the previous 30 years, the colony fared badly in the short of receiving a total of 128,000 pounds, 296, 296,000 pounds for 10,000 slaves.
So essentially, the crown purchased our ancestors from these
slave
masters.
The average amount for each slave was 13.4.5 and 3/4, which is in pounds. So each one will probably value 13 pounds. You hear people talk about 10 pounds, 5 pounds, and so forth.
Right.
Each one is probably valued close to 13 pounds.
Around that time.
At the time, to the master.
For a person.
So how much money the master's making for us? Okay, now, Lord Rolle decided all his extensive land in the Exuma to his slaves and their descendants in a common commerce. Rolle owned much land in Rolleville, Roll Town, on Thompson, and Ramses.
Which plantation Pompey came from?
Pompey came from the Rolleville plantation. He was the foreman for Roll plantation. He come from the Roll plantation.
Pompey
is a part of the Roll descendants. He was the foreman. Pompey was the foreman. You remember when I tell you say Roll had an absentee slave master?
Right.
Pompey them is to run the plantation.
That's what they call the HNIC, the head Negro in charge.
Yeah, head Negro in charge. Pompey was, you see, Pompey them was the soldiers them.
Right.
Pompey them was the brothers who come to Nassau and tell the Bahamian governor at the time, we need 1 day pay. Because of the apprenticeship period, no one was getting paid. So he asking them for 1 day pay.
Because apprenticeship was just slavery.
It was just wake, eat, drink, shit, sleep, and wake again.
Right.
But Pompey said, man, no baby waking around the clock, baby, we need 1 day pay.
Right.
And Pompey didn't just get it willingly. They lash him.
He got lashes.
He got lashes, but we got the 1 day pay.
Pompey had a couple revolutions.
And he had plenty couple revolutions. That's why you find slaves from Exuma would end up in Cat Island, would end up in Crooked Island, they end up in Andros, the close islands, them. Wherever you see now road, descend in Cat Island, Andros, they all break away from the plantation.
Right.
But there's still only one plantation had Roll plantation in the Exumas. And Roll didn't get no land from the crown, he bought it.
Right.
There was his own. That's why today no one could take the title from any Roll descendant who live in the Exumas. They originally owned this land by treaty and by a creed. And this is the legal document of what the Roll plantation owners leave for the children and the great grandchildren of the Rolls.
So basically, that family title, the land became a form of payment, but it wasn't really reparations. It was a form of us now claiming the property that was owned by the slave master.
No, it was not a form of us. We didn't claim the land. Lord Roll gave it to us.
It became
he gave it to us as our descendant, yet unborn. In other words, he said, my slaves, when they could just own the land.
Right.
For them and their children and their grandchildren. As far as the master is concerned, as a part of compensation for us.
Right. In their mind, that was the generation property was like reparation.
Reparation, fine item. Now, from that group of people,